This is New Hampshire Cross Country, powered by Runners Alley. We are at the Division I JV State Championships here at Alvirne High School. This meet hub is brought to you by Bees Tees out of Keene, New Hampshire. We're just about ready to start the boys race. The starter is out by his cone, and all the boys are lined up on the start line. Teams to watch this year obviously is Pinkerton, winning many of the last few Division I JV State Championships. Although Concord, Londonderry, and Winnacunnet have strong teams this year that may contend for the title. Alright, starter is ready. Flag is up. And we're off. This is the 2019 Division I JV State Championship. Looks like there is a very large puddle right in the middle of the starting field that some of the teams have had to go around. So box placement may be important for this race. We are now about 400 meters into this race. Actually a little bit more, about 800. But just as the runners enter the woods, Winnacunnet with a nice pack right up towards the front, as well as Pinkerton, obviously, fighting for that. Although quite a few Londonderry runners as well. Although pretty early in the race, we saw at Battle of the Border, a lot of the teams that were up towards the front this far into the race were caught by the teams kind of sitting back in this first mile. So we'll have to see how this race goes, but judging off of that, a lot can change in the woods loop of this course, because basically this first little loop is just a few hundred meters in the field. So primarily most of the course is going to be in the woods. Pretty nice conditions today. It's about mid-50s, sunny, very breezy, but like I said, most of the race is in the woods. So once they break that tree line and head into the loop in the woods on the trails, the wind shouldn't really be an issue. So I'll have to see how things shake out. But looks like the expected teams are out in front at this point. Alright, we're about halfway through the race at this point. Keene's number one runner right up front, as well as the second going 1-2. Londonderry's first, followed by a duo of Winnacunnet. Pretty spread out in terms of team scores right now. There's 2 North through, 2 Pinkerton, 3 Winnacunnet. Looks like 3 Londonderry. There's Winnacunnet's 4th and 5th, Keene's 4th. So quite a mix up towards the front. A lot of different teams going for this team title. Pretty hard to tell at this point who's leading. But we have about a mile and a half to go left in this race. So I'll have to see. We're about 9 minutes and 53 seconds into the race right now. So they're going to do another loop around the field and then head back into the woods, where the second mile is right before the entrance to the woods. And they'll run that final woods loop before coming out right in this position that you see right now, before heading to the finish line, which is only about 200 or 300 meters away from this spot. So both team-wise and individually, it looks to be pretty close right now. Keene's number one runner got a little bit of a gap, about 10 meters on second and third, who are pretty close together. But like I said earlier, a lot can change on this course. I know it did in most of the Battle of the Border races here earlier this year. Many of the runners that were up front at this point in the race were not the individual winners. So any of the runners in that maybe like top 5 to 10, if they put on a big push, can get up towards the podium. And then on the team side, it's really going to be a battle over this next mile to get position, because it's anyone's game at this point. anyone's race, I suppose. Not really a game, unless you play run. So pretty windy in this field loop. If they're they got the wind at their back right now, heading away from the woods, but as they turn to go back into the woods on the opposite side of the field, they're gonna have it right in their face. So hopefully the trees kind of cut some of that, or else they're really gonna be fighting against that wind. So depending on how much that affects them, we may not have the fastest times today. But like I said earlier, most of the race is in the woods, so hopefully that will minimize the effect of the wind, and we'll have some good times and some good racing.
Alright, so now the lead cart's coming up right now. So from Londonderry we have Will Plant in the lead. He's kind of got a substantial lead right now. And right behind him trailing we got Keene. And wow, they really broke away from this field. There's really like the chase pack's coming now with a few Winnacunnet. Oh, what's that? That's 3 Winnacunnet in and 2 Londonderry in.
Let's go, guys! Come on, Raph! Let's go! Come on, Clay!
So that's 4 Winnacunnet in and 3 Londonderry in. That's 4 Londonderry and 4 Winnacunnet.
Come on, Felix!
Right?
Let's go!
And this is Winnacunnet and Londonderry's 5th. Dude, yell at him, tell him he's 5th.
Come on, Ben! Let's go!
Alright, so
Oh, you're 5th. Let's go.
right now we got a close race between Winnacunnet and Londonderry for the win. And we got a few Pinkerton coming up. And a nice pack of Winnacunnet here.
Come on, Josh. Here's Zach.
So right now the team scores are looking, so I don't know, probably, what do you think, Sean? Like Londonderry, Pinkerton, Winnacunnet, north, south?
It's definitely going to be a very close race.
Yeah.
Come on, pick it up, John. Let's go.
It's a beautiful day out here to be running. We got Andrew Young from Londonderry. Everyone seems to be running well today. Really eating up these nice conditions.
Come on, Jacob. You got this.
Justin Dixon from Londonderry.
Come on, Gavin. Pick up the pace. Let's go.
Got a few Londonderrys coming up, a few south.
Come on. Good job.
And there's just an array of runners right now from different teams. So all these boys are doing well today.
Come on, Teddy.
It'll be interesting to see at the end how the teams play out, as they were very close at the beginning of the race.
Let's go, Jack.
Just got a big group of Bedford coming through.
Yep, nice group,
Come on.
working together. That's what we like to see.
Come on, Nolan.
Got all these boys working really hard out here today on a great day to be running.
Oh, nice, another nice group of Bedford coming up.
Come on, Julian. You got this. Let's go.
Got more Bedford coming through. This is a nice, solid, tight team.
Dover, 2 south. Another Bedford, saying that name a lot. Seems like they got a lot of runners this year.
Let's go, Odin.
Winnacunnet, Salem, north. And behind North, we got 2 Alvern. It's their home course. Must be running this a lot. They got that home course advantage.
Come on, Sam, you got this. Let's go.
Quick flex. Oh, another quick flex.
Loving their camera time.
Yeah.
Come on, Doc. Let's go, Ricardo.
All right, we're at the finish line now. We have our number 1 runner, as from Londonderry, taking the individual title in about 17:19 unofficially. Quite a fast time. And like I said, a lot can change over that second woods loop. So it looks like Keene had 1-2 coming out of the woods at about 1.5 miles, and it's going to be Londonderry, Winnacunnet, and then another Londonderry. So these boys really came on strong to those 2 Keene runners that were up front originally. So that's 3 for Winnacunnet and 2 for Londonderry, 4 for Winnacunnet. They are in the lead at this point, but I do see 2 more Londonderry coming in. So this could come down to the 5th runner depending on how those points shake out. Londonderry has that low number, although there's Winnacunnet's 5 and 6 and 7, so they will displace Londonderry's 5. Give a few extra points to them. There's Keene's 1st and 2nd. Like I said, they were leading this race at about 1.5 miles, so Winnacunnet and Londonderry putting in a big second half of the race. To put about 10 from those 2 teams in the top 15. At this point, I'm not too sure. I believe it's going to be Winnacunnet with the win, as their 6th and 7th runners did displace Londonderry's 5. However, Londonderry does have the lower numbers up front, so it will be pretty close. Although I do believe Winnacunnet took the win. So pretty good. Those 2 teams placing ahead of Pinkerton, who has been the powerhouse here the last couple years, both on the boys and the girls side. The girls race we'll see in just a few minutes. We're about 30 seconds under the 20-minute mark, so all these runners that you see finishing here will be under the 20-minute mark. Obviously, at this last race of the JV season, you want your athletes to PR, have their best race of the season. This is what you've been training towards all season, so you should be, in theory, in your best shape right now for the championship race. So I would imagine many of these athletes are running personal best times. I see a lot of them celebrating as they look at the clock, actually, so that's a good sign. We have some of their teammates as well talking about how good the times are for these runners. So looks to be a pretty fast day here. Like I said, very windy, but most of the course is in the woods. So looks like the wind didn't have too much of a factor.
There he is!
Once again, this JV Divisional State Meet coverage is brought to you by Bees Teas out of Keene, New Hampshire. Good local company out of New Hampshire. So go check them out. Quite a few close finishes between some of these runners as they go over the line. These athletes trying to squeeze every last second out of their bodies before they come out over the line.
Leo, cut him, let's go! Nice kick, buddy. Nice kick.
So quite a nice day. We've had good weather for both Division 2 and 3 and the Division 1 state championship. Division 2 and 3 being last Wednesday. It was a little chilly, but no rain and not very windy either, so good conditions then. And a little bit breezy today, but warm enough, and the sun's out, so that helps.
Plus we're waiting on Jack.
Pretty good fall conditions.
Dylan. Will.
Hopefully we'll see similar conditions next week for the varsity divisional state championships at Dairyfield.
He's taking 23.
No, we didn't have some great weather last year at Dairyfield. Extremely muddy. A lot of work was put into this course this year, right before Battle of the Border earlier in the year. It looks to be in good condition here as well. So that has led to some fast times. This is a relatively fast course overall, not too hilly. You have a lot of loops, 2 loops through the field and 2 loops in the woods. Woods loop is a little bit hillier than the field. Field is relatively flat, but still a very fast course. Not really anything major in terms of incline. Although there is this last finish straightaway is uphill. Doesn't look like much, but I'm sure these kids are feeling it after racing the first 3 miles. You got this little 0.1 left. That's a minor uphill, but it's noticeable when you're that tired.
Until he doesn't break 28. So I am. Man, we all knew it. Whoever looked at one. That was awful throw, dog. Yeah. Comes around the corner now. Dylan! Dylan! Fuck yeah! Oh my Oh my God! Let's go, Dylan! Go in!